What's going on? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics, and up next we are going to be going over a big CGC submission that I am putting together right now. We'll talk about the books, my estimated grades, and there are some cool books in here, some that I haven't shown previously in unboxing videos, so excited to get into these. Let's check out these books. Alright, so before we get started, please remember to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. So, like I said, I have got a big box of comics here. I think most people probably have something like this. It's like their grading box. Like, these are all the books that whenever I'm picking up comics and I get them in, I'm evaluating them to see if it's a book that I want to send in to get graded. It's not necessarily a straightforward decision. A lot of times it's dependent on what I have into the comic, what the grading costs are going to be, and if I think maybe after cleaning and pressing it has that potential to bump up higher, and so there's that benefit to me really getting that book graded. But what I'm going to go over here are a pretty big set of comics that I'm sending in, and there's some really cool stuff in here. I'm going to do a second video because I've got a bunch of magazines I'm going to be sending in as well, that I'm really glad I waited until CGC updated their cases. Not just because of the new cases, but because their turnaround times seem to be way faster with magazines now. But this one's going to be focusing on the comics. But before we get into these, got to talk about the sponsor of this video, Fanalytics. If you're a follower of my YouTube and Instagram channels, you know that having accurate and comprehensive data to make my comic buying, selling, and investing decisions is extremely important to me. Fanalytics has exciting plans for the future to provide the most accurate and up-to-date sales data as well as predictive models to help collectors make the best decisions with their hard-earned money. Keep an eye on my YouTube and Instagram channels for more announcements and dedicated content in the future, so make sure to subscribe to their Instagram for future announcements and click the link in their profile to register for beta access. The link to their Instagram is in the description of this video. All right, so we're back. I have got my sheet here that has all my estimated grades for these comics, and we're going to start getting into these. Like I said, there's some cool stuff in here, and a number of books that I actually haven't shown or talked about on the channel yet. So let's just start right here. First one we've got is Action Comics number 255. This is the first appearance of Bizarro Lois Lane. I think it's also something like the fourth appearance of Supergirl. But this is a really nice copy of this book. This one I actually picked up on Instagram from the Fantast collection. They've been doing those live sales. I've done a couple of them, and I picked this one up in the first one that they did. That was being run by Rage Theo and One True Nerd King. And so this one I have estimated as a 7 to a 7.5. It is a really solid copy of this book. So you can kind of see here. It's a really clean copy. There's a little damage down to that, like a little crease in this corner here, but really nice copy of this one. So that's the first book. Then the next one here we've got, I don't know if I've shown this in an unboxing video. I actually picked this one up, I think on eBay, and I hadn't seen this cover. It is a cover I had not come across before. This is Adventures into Terror, number 43. It's actually number 1. So it's the first issue in the run. They had a few issues and then they restarted the numbering. This is number 43. I have this one as a 4.5 to a 5. It's a really nice copy. It has a little bit of kind of like color rub wear here, but overall the colors are very, very nice on this book. And I'm excited to get this one graded. I mean, it's a really cool cover. It's one I haven't come across before, just at least not in my memory seeing. So it's one of these Atlas books, and the Atlas Pre-Code Horror, I've talked about this quite a bit before. I feel like they're kind of underappreciated right now, so I like picking up Atlas Pre-Code Horror. So that is the second book there. Next one. Oh, this is a really cool one. All right, so this is Airboy Comics, Volume 4, number 8. This is one of the crazier, like, Good Girl Bondage covers that I've come across. And so you can see you've got Airboy on the cover there, and this woman tied up to the propeller, and these guys are trying to basically trick him to start the plane and kill her. But this is a pretty nice copy. The main issue is some rust on the staples. I have this one at a 6 to a 6.5. So you can see there is rust at the staples, a little bit of migration on the cover, but actually on the interior there isn't any rust migration. I was I was surprised just because you had this little bit on the cover here. I thought it would have been on the interior as well, but it isn't. But this is you can see here, I mean, this is a very, very nice copy of this book. This is a Golden Age book, and you can just see how clean and sharp those edges are, how clean that spine is. I mean, it's the main thing is that staple rust, and that's why I have it as a 6 to a 6.5. I have had books with quite a bit of staple rust getting a 6.5 in the past, and this one's actually cleaner than that one, and so I think a 6 to a 6.5 is a pretty safe estimate for this book. So that is number 3. Next book here. Oh, this is another cool one. Now this one is actually going to be going in a different submission. These ones are all going to be pressed and cleaned first by the comic book presser. That's what I'm planning to send these to. This one I'm going to send it on its own because it does not need to be cleaned and pressed. It's completely split spine, missing pieces from the cover. It's almost certainly going to get a 0.5. Maybe I get a 1 if I'm lucky. But this is All New Comics number 8. This is a tough book. This is a very tough book to come across. And if you're familiar with the Golden Age, some of the big books in the Golden Age, this is done by Alex Schomburg, and it's basically, I call it like the poor man's version of Suspense Comics number 3. I'll throw a picture of Suspense Comics number 3 over here. That book is just a crazy cover. It is one of the most expensive books from the Golden Age, done by Alex Schomburg. This one also done by him, but a little bit later. And yeah, you can see it's very similar content to the cover, just not nearly the quality, I would say, of the cover, just the level of detail. But this one, you can see it's missing some stuff along the spine here, and on the back it's missing a bunch of it off the top, and so it is missing a lot of the cover. So I'm almost certain it's going to get a 0.5, but still not a book you come across very often. Was really happy to be able to pick this one up, and even at a 0.5, it's a pretty rare book, pretty expensive book. All right, next one. I'm just sending this one in because I just haven't really seen very many of these. I've only seen a couple of them. I think there's only maybe 2 on Census. This is the Archie, Your Official Store Club magazine, and it's NN, it's non-numbered. And I picked this one up on eBay a little while ago, and I just thought this would be a cool one to get graded just because there's not many on the Census. This one I have as a 5.0. It's really thin. I'll take this one out just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about with this one. So it's not like a normal comic. You can obviously tell it's much smaller, but it's also very few pages. I mean, it's a very, very thin book. It's just a few pages. It's got kind of like a colored interior, lots of orange, and it's just basically like an orange and white interior. But one that I just thought, because of the rarity of the book, that this would be an interesting one to send in to get graded. So, like I said, I have this one as a 5.0. And the next book here, we're sticking with Archie for this one. This is Archie's Pals and Gals number 1. I have this one at a 4.5. I wouldn't be surprised if it does a little better. The main thing is it has this kind of like, it's almost like someone had tape at some point on the spine, but there was no need for it. There's no splitting or anything like that. It is a pretty solid copy of this book. It's very thick, but really bright colors. In general, nice edges. It's got some wear up in the corner up there, but overall a very nice copy of this book. But like I said, I have this one as a 4.5. I like number 1s. Archie has a lot of different titles, and I like getting number 1s, and so I thought this would be a fun one to get graded. So 4.5 for Archie's Pals and Gals number 1. All right, now we're getting into a couple Batman issues. These next 3, I picked all of these ones up as well from that Fantast sale. 2 of them are the same, and so I'm not sure which one is going to be which. Let's see. But the first one here is Batman 241. I love this cover. This is one of my favorite depictions of Batman. I think he looks so cool on this cover, and I have 2 copies of it. One of them I had at an 8.0, and one of them I had as an 8 to an 8.5. And so I'm gonna get both of these done. They're both pretty nice copies. The main thing, I think they both had just like a little bit of wear down on the bottom of the spine. They are a little bit thicker books. You can see they're 52 pages. A little bit thicker books, but in general, they were both really nice presenting copies. A little bit of spine wear, but that's, I mean, like, that's about it. Overall, really, really solid copies of this book. So high grade copies, or pretty high grade copies, 8.2 and 8.5. And so sending both those in. The next book here I also picked up from that Fantastic collection, also Batman. This is Batman 245, another great Batman cover. I have this one as an 8 to an 8.5 as well. And the main thing on this book is this, there's a little color break down in this corner here that's maybe half an inch, something like that. And then there's just, you know, there's a little corner wear up there, and then a little bit of spine wear. But overall, a very, very nice presenting copy of this book. So I decided I'd be sending this one in as well. All right, so next, jumping back to the golden age of this one. This is the second time I've had a copy of this book. It's a pretty cool cover. This is Black Terror number 10. You see you've got the Black Terror on the cover there, beating up Nazis with, I can't remember what, I think his name is just Tim. I think that's what it is. And he doesn't have any other type of name. It's his sidekick. I'm pretty sure it's just Tim. But you've got both of them on here, you know, beating up Nazis and all that kind of stuff. I have this one as a 3 to a 3.5. Colors are really, really nice on this copy. The main issue you can see is this chip out of the top corner here. There's other little bits of wear and all of that, but overall, a very presentable copy of this book for a Golden Age World War II cover. So that's the next one. Then we have this one I'm pretty excited about. This is a cool book. This is Crime Suspense Stories number 17. I have this one at a 6.5. This is a really, really nice copy of this book. So you can kind of see just how clean the spine is. There's a little bit of spine wear, but overall a really presentable copy of this book. I think is there a tear over here or something? I don't remember. Can't remember if it was a little tear. Let's see if we can find it. Oh yeah, that's right. That's the main flaw on it. There's a tear right here that's maybe half an inch to 3/4 of an inch. And then, like you saw, there's a little bit of wear on the spine, a little bit of wear on that top edge, but overall a really nice presenting copy of this book. This is one of those classic Johnny Craig covers from the Crime Suspense Stories run. Obviously, 22, that one up there, that is the big book from the run, but there are a number of other issues that are also kind of like starting to gain traction and getting more and more expensive because the big one up there has gotten priced out for a lot of people. So Crime Suspense Stories number 17, have this one at a 6.5. Just a really nice book. The main detractor from it is that tear along that edge there. All right. Next one. This one I picked up because it may get close to top of census. There's a couple little things I'm worried about on it, but we'll see. I felt like it was still worth sending in. This is from Timely, but it's at that time period when it's kind of also going by Marvel. And so this is Comedy Comics number 8. You see what I mean? It's got this little Marvel stamp here in the corner. And this is a very nice copy. This I have as a 5.0, and for this book, that is a very nice copy. I think the highest graded is, I think it's like a 5.5, something like that. But at first I thought it had a really good chance maybe at beating that 5.5. Now I'm not so sure, just because of what's going on in this, you can see it up here, in this upper edge right here. It just almost feels like a little bit of paper loss, like there was like some folding. And so you can see like right here, there's like maybe a little paper loss, and I'm not sure how bad they'll hit me for it. So I have it as a 5.0, but otherwise it is a very nice copy of this book. And these are tough books to come by. These issues from this time period in Timely, you do not come across them very often, especially not in a respectable grade. Like this is a 5.0, is a nice presenting copy for this book. So I'm just interested to see what this one ends up coming back as. All right, now the next one, jumping all the way up to the Bronze Age with this one. This is Defenders number 1. I have this one as an 8.0. Maybe it does a little better, but it has a printer crease on the cover, but I've talked about this before. Printer creases generally do not affect the grade. You can get 9/8 with printer creases. The main issues are there's just a lot of little spine ticks on this book. They're very small, and so maybe I get lucky and it gets like an 8.5 or something like that. There's just a lot of little spine ticks on this one, and a little damage up in this corner here. But Defenders #1, I have that one as an 8.0. Next up, jumping now all the way back to the Golden Age. This is a book you do not see come up very often. This is Dynamic Comics #18. I have this book as a 3.0. This is a Gus Rika cover. He is famous for a few different Golden Age books. The biggest one is Punch Comics #12. The second biggest one is probably Dynamic Comics #8. Yeah, Dynamic Comics #8. Pretty sure I got that right. But this one I have as a 3.0, and it's just another one of his pretty cool covers. And so this will be an interesting one to get graded. It just has general wear to it. You've got, you know, a little bit of missing paper up in the corner there, and at the staples it's attached, but you can tell it's worn down a little bit at that staple and worn down at that staple. So it's one of those things I might end up putting a sticky note on this one for CGC to be careful with it. I've talked about that before. It's better to be preemptively cautious and make them aware of anything where they might damage it at the staples. It also has a little crease in the corner here. But yeah, I have this one as a 3.0. Let's see how that one comes back. Maybe a 3.5, but I think a 3.0. All right, next one. This is a book I'm just sending in because it is a really solid copy. I have it as a 9 to a 9.2. This is Fantastic Four #84. Just a cool Doom cover. Nothing else really about it other than the fact that it's just a really nice copy. It's got a few little spine ticks you can see in the purple there. I think there's a couple more maybe down somewhere else along the spine. And then I think there was maybe, there's like a little wear, let's see, up in the corner up here. But overall, a very nice copy of this book. So I have it as a 9 to a 9.2. All right, then another one. It's a pretty nice copy. The main flaw is down in the bottom corner here. This is Giant Size Creatures #1. This is the first appearance of Tigra, and I have this one at a, what did I say? I think I have this one as a 9.0. The main flaw on this book is this corner down here. There's like a little corner crunch down there. Maybe it can do a little better than a 9.0, but I think with that corner crunch and a couple other minor things along the spine, I think it's going to get a 9.0. We'll see. But yeah, just first appearance of Tigra in a square bound book. They're not real thick. These ones aren't real thick square bounds, but they are square bound books. You always need to be cautious about that because you can have detachments and you often have like creasing along the spine here. But this one's pretty nice. All right, next one. This is a really cool cover. This one is Haunted Thrills #13. I have this one at a 3.0. I like the skull covers in the Haunted Thrills run. They have some really incredible covers in this run, and this is one of them. The tricky part with these ones is that they were done by Feral Publications, and you generally do not know who did the covers. I don't remember if these are ones that were done by what's called the Iger Shop, but you don't typically know who did the covers for these books, which is unfortunate because they have a lot of really cool covers in this run. But yeah, Haunted Thrills #13, have it as a 3.0. It's like some water damage, kind of like general wear along the top. It has some creasing, but colors are really great on this copy. And I've said this before, I really like how they draw the skulls. I think like with the sharp, kind of like menacing teeth, I think they look really cool. So Haunted Thrills #13, 3.0. Then this one I'm sending in, I don't know, kind of just because. I feel like maybe I get a little more value out of the book, differentiate it by getting it graded. This is Journey into Mystery #38. I have this one as a 4.5. Nothing else to really say about it. You can kind of see there's just generally some wear along the top edge. That side looks pretty good, and then you have a decent amount of just spine wear. So I have this one as a 4.0. Colors really pop on this one. The main image is nice, it's clean. It definitely needs to be pressed. You can kind of see these like indentations and things on the cover, so we'll definitely benefit from a press. But yeah, I have this one as a 4.5. All right. Another Journey into Mystery. This one's actually, I'd call it like a minor key. It's actually gotten a little bit more expensive. This is issue number 62. I have this as a 4 to a 4.5. There was some tape. There's like some small tears along the edges and tape that's fixing them. That's, I think, mostly on the interior. This is one of these prototype Hulk issues. I would say this is the prototype Hulk issue because you've got Hulk on the cover. Clearly this is not the Hulk that we're used to. It is a very solid presenting copy. I mean, it looks much nicer than the grade that I have it as. Like I said, I have it as a 4 to a 4.5, but there are a number of little tears on the book and they are repaired with tape. So I think it's probably not going to do much better than that because of those issues. Right. Next one. This one, I think I showed this on one of my live streams. I haven't shown it. I don't think I showed this in an unboxing though. This is a Marvel Mystery Comics number 16. Really cool World War II Human Torch cover. You got Submariner, you've got the Angel, you've got the Golden Age Vision over on that side as well. And this is a cool pickup because I had somebody reach out to me on Instagram and let me know that this book was for sale on Mercari. And they just mentioned, they're like, hey, I know you like Golden Age books, thought you might be interested in this one. I went and checked it out. And it was crazy. Like the book looked completely different on Mercari. It was like, it wasn't that it was in a bad bag or anything. It was just almost somehow the lighting made it look like it was really, really dirty. And then when it showed up and I opened it, I was like, I was shocked. I was surprised it was the same book because the colors are actually just incredible on it. Now there is a lot of, I would say it's almost certainly mold damage. I don't think it's dirt. I think it's probably mold. Looks like it was in a stack of books. You can see it's got that line, you know, the lines where it was in a stack. But still, I mean, it's Marvel Mystery Comics number 16. It's a detached cover. I'll have to have the spine roll fixed to make sure it fits in a normal slab. But overall, I think it's going to present really, really well once it's in a slab. It's just a great looking copy of this book. And so, yeah, was happy to pick this one up. I have this one as a 1.0. That's what I think it's going to get just because I've had books with a lot of molding before and they really hit you for it. Foxing, they don't seem to hit you very much, but the mold seems to hit you pretty bad. Maybe I get lucky and it does a little better just because the colors are so bright, but let's see, maybe I'll show the back cover isn't any better. So that's why I think it's probably going to get hit pretty hard. So there's the back cover. And you can see it's just got this kind of like this molding all along the book. A little bit of tape down here, but it is a, if I remember correctly, it is a detached cover. Page quality, it's surprising. Page quality isn't half bad, despite all like the water damage. Page quality really isn't half bad, and you know, it's just, it'll benefit a little bit from a press, but the main reason is to fix that spine roll to ensure that it fits inside of a normal slab. So yeah, I always like getting these early Marvel Mysteries. The World War II covers are the ones that I prefer, and like I've said this, you never know where you're gonna find these books, and this one was up on Mercari, and I was just really surprised by how nice it actually presented when it showed up. Next one here, I have a couple copies of this. I think I decided only to send one of them in though. This is Meet Coreless Archer number 2, and I actually I forgot to do the grading on this one. I think I had it as like a 5.5 or a 6. It is a nice copy. This is a book that is pretty tough to get in a nice condition like this. The books from this run are tough to get in nice condition. They're from Fox Feature Syndicate, that was the publisher, and they used cheaper materials, and you just tend to get lower grade copies. The cool thing with this one is it has pink pages. So if you're familiar with Fox Feature Syndicate, they used pink pages. There's also blue pages, and I've heard there's something like gray pages, but the only ones that I've seen identified on CGC's site are pink and blue. I've only ever seen a blue page book one time. Pink page books I've seen a few times, but this is a pink page book. I'll actually, I don't know if I want to take it out because it's a pretty nice copy, but I'll show it. I'll show the pink pages on that because I feel like you don't get a chance to see that all that often, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. and it's really obvious. I don't know if my lighting here will show it or not, but you can see this is a pink page copy. It has this pink hue to all the pages. And so yeah, I just think it's cool to come across things like that, because most of the publishers did not use that. And so you only see this every once in a while. And if you're not familiar with it, you might wonder what's going on with the book. But yeah, they used a pink paper, I guess, to save some money. So neat Coreless Archer number 2. I think I had it as a 5.5 to a 6, maybe even a little better. It is a really nice presenting copy of this book. Right. Next up, this one I've had for quite a while. I just never got around to listing it, and then I just decided I would send it out to get graded. This is Men's Adventures number 27. I have this one at a 6.0. It is actually, I'd say it presents a lot better than that, but the main issue is there is some wear along the spine. It's probably a little hard to see through the Mylar. You can see that little mark right there, and kind of down around the staple here. It is fully attached. There's also a couple little creases, down in the corner here. There's 2 creases down in that corner. But like I said, I have this one at a 6.0. These are a little bit later, when they brought back Human Torch and Toro, this character here. It was not a very long running series, but yeah, these have definitely been getting a little more attention lately. So I decided to send this one in because it's actually a pretty nice grade. A 6.0 is at least what I think it is. A 6.0 is a pretty nice grade. I mean, it's one of those that I'm worried maybe I'll get a little bit lower. It's got a little, issue down on the spine here, but I still think it's worthwhile to send in for grading. All right, next one. This is another one I'm sending in because it is a very nice copy. There are quite a few of these actually available on eBay, which is a little surprising because this type of book can be a little tough to come across. This is Patsy Walker number 22. Again, it's got that Marvel Comics stamp there. But if you look on eBay, the copies of this book are all just beat up. They are not nice copies of this book. I have this one at a 7 to a 7.5. It is a very solid copy. The main issues are along the spine. There's just some wear along the spine, but it is a really solid presenting copy of this book. And so that's the main reason I'm sending it in. It's one of those things where you don't come across nice copies of this issue very often, and so thought it was worthwhile to get it graded. So Patsy Walker number 22. So that's the thing. Sometimes it's because the book itself just has a lot of inherent value. Other times it's because it's maybe one of the better copies out there, and that's what I feel like with that issue there. All right, next one. This, by far, biggest book that I'm sending in. I have not shown this one in an unboxing. There's a lot of pen on the cover, but it is still this issue, so it is a big deal. This is a keeper book for me. This is Phantom Lady number 17. You can see someone decided to tattoo her down here. There's also a lot of pen on the back cover. They drew on her face, all kinds of stuff. But this is Phantom Lady number 17. This is one of the Matt Baker books. It is the most expensive Matt Baker book. There are others that some people like more. Like 7 Seas number 4 is a very popular book. But this does currently hold the record for price for a Matt Baker book. There was a 9.6 Promise Collection copy that was pink pages, by the way, that sold for $456,000. This one I have as a 2 to a 2.5. It's structurally sound. It is all attached. Probably needs to get the spine roll fixed. Has some tears and little things along the spine and the edges. But the main detractor is the pen. It's the pen on the cover, but it can be tough to get books like this. This is one of the first times I've ever had a chance to even get a copy. One other time I had thought about buying one. It was missing a big piece on the front, and I would rather have writing on the cover than a big chunk out of the cover. So Phantom Lady number 17, keeper book for me, by far the biggest book in this submission. Even in this grade, this is one of the most expensive books that I own. So yeah, I was very excited to be able to pick up a copy of this book. All right, next one. This one, let's see. I have 2 copies of this. I have one that is listed on eBay. It has some writing on the cover. This one is a nicer copy, and so I decided to get it graded. This is Rangers Comics number 38. This one I have as a 5 to a 5.5. It is, I don't remember what I thought was wrong with it. Oh yeah, that's right. There's some staining up in the corner here. That's the main thing. There's some staining up in the corner. Otherwise, a really solid copy of this book. Let's see here. This was used in Seduction of the Innocent. Obviously a pretty violent cover, a hanging cover, but very nice presenting copy. Main thing is this staining up there. But these types of Seduction of the Innocent, SOTY books, the books that were basically used to put the Comics Code Authority in place, are always kind of interesting to get. So Rangers Comics number 38, and a nice copy of it too. All right, next, this is a cool one. This is, I believe, nicer than my other copy. I have it as a 5.5. This is Scooby Doo number 1. This is a tough book to get in any type of respectable grade. I mean, basically, this is the type of book that was probably sitting in dentist's offices, doctor's offices, you know, just getting read by just tons of kids, a lot of handling. And so I think the highest grade copy that's out there, it's like a 9.4. I'm almost certain there's no 9.8s, and I don't think there are any 9.6s. This is a very difficult book to get in respectable grade. This is a nice mid-grade copy. Like I said, I have it as a 5.5. This book, the main flaws I often see it on, it's where like this, where you have these creases that kind of are horizontal, like the book was rolled over. Like it was probably sitting in some type of holder and folded over, and that's a lot of times the types of flaws that I see. There's also a little bit of wear down in the corner here, but this is the first appearance of Scooby and everybody else, Scooby and the gang, and just a pretty solid presenting copy. I picked this one up at that local comic show that I go to. This one was on the wall. Ended up buying that a few months back, and I was like getting copies of this book. I've had three or four, but I think this is the nicest one. All right, next one. This is another one I picked up in that Fantast sale. This one is very nice. I have it as a 9.2. This is Special Marvel Edition number 15, a book that has just tanked. I mean, this book got really expensive when the movie came out and into the comic boom, because that movie came out really right at the peak of the comic boom. The trailer came out in I think April of 2021 and just went nuts. The book went absolutely nuts. And so it has retreated a lot, but I feel like it's probably around the time to start picking it up. I mean, it has come back, I think, below 2020 prices, or very close to it. But this is a really, really nice copy. The main flaw, I would say almost the only flaw, I think there's like 1 or 2 spine ticks, and then there's this tiny little crunch in the corner here. And that is it. It is otherwise just a stunning copy of this book. So first appearance of Shang-Chi, and just an amazing copy. And so 9.2. So that one will be, I'll be interested to see what that one, if it comes back that 9.2, it'd be nice if it did a little better. But yeah, it is a really nice copy. This one is also this next book here is also going to be sent in a different submission, and that is because I'm going to be having this book conserved. So this is Superman number 2. And this is a married cover. It's also I believe the cover is split, and there's tape all along the spine here. This is one of the coolest books that I own. I mean, it is really cool to have a Superman number 2. I really like this cover. Yeah, there's staining to the cover, but I mean, who cares? Superman number 2. And one of the main reasons that this is a married cover, and I knew that when I bought it, it was sold as a married cover, is that, let's see, so the cover isn't attached, but you can see it has all this staining, but then on the interior there is nothing with respect to staining. I believe the staple hole also didn't line up. That's like the first thing you check is the staple holes, and I'm almost certain that the staple holes didn't line up. But so I'm planning to have this book conserved, meaning you'd have the tape removed, you would do leaf casting to fill in any of these spots, to reattach all the cover. You can do some cleaning to maybe lighten the staining. And so then we can get the cover reattached, we can get all the tears reinforced and everything, and make that book so that it will last a lot longer. The other big plus that comes with doing conservation is you get the bluish gray label instead of the green label. So this book, because it has a married cover, would get a green label, the same as the, what was it? The World's Finest #3 that I showed in a prior video and unboxing, it coming back a green label. But if I do conservation on this, you get that bluish gray label, which just visually looks nicer. So yeah, Superman #2, I am really excited to have all that work done to this book and, you know, see what it comes back as. That staining is, I think, going to be the main thing that's going to really hold it back once it's conserved, but I still think it'll look a little bit better. This one I haven't shown in a video either. This is the first time I'd ever gotten a copy of this book. This is Tales from the Crypt #20. And it does look very nice. It is attached at the bottom staple. I think it's detached at the front cover at the top. I have this one as a 2 to a 2.5. I can't remember why. I think it's like there's some splitting. I think that's what it is. There's a fair amount of splitting. I mean, it is a really nice presenting copy. I'm actually considering not having it pressed as well. It's just a little bit fragile, and I'm worried that pressing it may fully detach the cover, but it definitely has, let's see if I can get it to show, definitely has some, it's always tough in these Mylars, some pressable defects, some bends and things on the cover that could improve it. So I'm considering it. It's one of those that I'm going to be on the fence probably until I actually send the books in on if this one is going to go in without pressing first, or I'm going to send it off for pressing. I'm always a little nervous, like with books that are more fragile, on what's going to happen with that pressing. You're taking a risk that you could detach with a more fragile book, which this one really is. But it may, I don't know. We'll see. I'm not sure yet. But this is actually the first issue of the Tales from the Crypt run. If you look it up, usually they'll have like a 1 next to it, because prior to that it went by a different name. But yeah, Tales from the Crypt #20, and a really solid presenting but lower grade copy. So like I said, I have that one as a 2 to a 2.5. All right, we've got just 3 books left here. First one here is Tales of Horror #2. I have this book as a 4.5. It's generally a solid presenting copy. There's some spine wear, that kind of thing. The issue that is much more valuable is, I think it's 5. It's the one with the snake that's wrapped around the, like the tower. It's either 5 or 8. Maybe it's 8. But yeah, Tales of Horror #2. It's a pretty cool, good girl art, monster type cover. 4.5. Next one, this is the first time I got a copy of this book. It's a pretty cool book in that it has a unique flaw to it. Not even flaw, unique production defect to it. This is Torchy #4. This is my favorite cover from this run. I think it's just a fun cover. The interesting thing with this copy is that it was manufactured with just 1 staple. It normally has 2 staples. This one was manufactured with just 1. So I will definitely put a note on it to make sure that they handle it carefully, because if somebody's expecting a 2-staple book and they open it up, they may damage the book or inadvertently detach the cover. This one is a pretty nice copy. I have this one as a 5 to a 5.5. Generally, a single staple book, that type of manufacturing defect, is not going to affect your grade. They aren't going to hit you for it. They might notate it. This one has, I think it has like a little tear up on the top there. But overall, a really nice presenting copy of this book. Cool date stamp up here as well. Yeah, Torchy run is a fun run. I think it's just like 6 issues, and they're all pretty cool, fun covers. All right, now, last book. So it's the last one. I just recently picked this one up. This is Weird Terror #7. Really cool cover. This is a crazy cover. This is one of those where you go like, that is some crazy violence on this cover. I have this one as a 5.5 to a 6. It's generally a very nice presenting book. There's a little crease up here, and then there's just a little bit of like creasing along the spine, and one kind of like small horizontal crease there. Overall, a really, really nice copy of this book. Colors are incredible. No real big flaws or anything in the central image of this book. That black background cover, which are the ones I really like. I always like those black background covers. Yeah, this is a Don Heck cover. He has quite a few of these like pre-code horror, pretty violent covers out there. But this one is a nice copy. Like I said, I have this one as a 5.5 to a 6, and I'm excited to see what this one ends up coming back as. Because man, I mean, yeah, just like look at that. It is a nice copy of this book. So, if you stuck with me through this whole video, it was a little longer than I was expecting. I maybe should have split it into 2, but hey, what you gonna do? So that is all the books that I am sending in. I will make a second video that covers the magazines that I'm sending in. And hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see more videos like this, see some cool books, I feel like I had some pretty unique, interesting books here. Make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, all that stuff. I've got more videos over here. If you'd like to watch some of my other videos, subscription button is right here, and I will see you in the next video.